today marks the release of Train Simulator 2017, this year's release of the Train Simulator franchise, and boy do I already hate it. This has caused me so much grief already. It keeps crashing. Like, half of the time the audio doesn't work. If the audio does work, it's more likely to crash. It takes so long to load. You know, this is longer than standard Train Simulator times we're talking about. You know, they have somehow introduced a whole bunch of bugs with this update, and somehow they've done that by doing nothing. Let me show you. Here's the interface. Seem familiar? Yeah. If we go into settings, no new options here or anything. You know, nothing has changed. It's all the same. They've just made it a bit blue. Let's go straight into a scenario, and boy does this look ugly. Sorry, that doesn't look nice. I appreciate that they spent the time to change the colours. They chose these colours for some reason that I will never know. But yeah, let's just get straight to it. Let's do this route. It's 40 minutes. The reason I'm choosing a shorter route is because I'm more likely to be able to finish it, because it will probably not crash. Probably. So, you're probably wondering, what's changed? I see no difference. This looks exactly like every other version of Train Simulator. And, well, that's because it is. It's exactly the same. Remember the promise a couple of years ago that the game was going to be upgraded? And you know, they were going to use the Unreal Engine to make it all nice and fancy. Yeah, well, that's not happening. If you're expecting that in this update, sorry. Yes, you can get the new version. There is actually a new version now. It's called Train Sim World. It will be in public beta in December. You can get access to that if you buy all of the DLC, all of the new DLC in this game. But I've got to be clear, they are separate games. None of the DLC that you have to buy in this game will work in the new game. They're not compatible whatsoever. There's no cross-compatibility. All of your routes, everything that you've bought in this game, it's not compatible with the new game. But that's not all. If you buy everything that you need to, it's about £30 worth, by the way. If you buy all of that in order to get access to the open beta, 12 days is all you're allowed. You heard me right. You can only access the beta for 12 days after paying the 30 quid for all of the DLC in the game that isn't even compatible with it. 12 days. Not only that, but if you buy everything that you need for this 12-day open beta, that doesn't give you access to the full game when it gets released. No, you've still got to pay for that. And you know, that's going to be 20 to 30, maybe even 40 pounds. You've got to pay for that. on top of all of the DLC to get access to the beta, and none of your DLC will work in the new game. So this is Train Simulator. The current version will never change. It's still running on the original engine, back when it was released yonks ago, when its publisher was EA Games. It's still running on the same core. You know, nothing has changed. They've changed the interface, they've opened up some scripting things, and they've added more options to the scenario creation tools and the route creation tools. But that's all that's happened in the 10 years or something that this has been around? Huh. You can tell that I'm not very happy. And not only is that because they, you know, hype up this update and then nothing happens. You know, that's alright, because it's free. You know, the update comes free for everyone. That is good. I like that. But the problem is, when you first buy the game, when you pay £24 for the game, you get a few routes, a few trains, and a few scenarios. Then, you know, that's a few hours worth of game time. You know, that could last you quite a while. Then you go to buy DLC. Now, a single train with roughly 2 to 3 scenarios, that'll cost you £12. 2 to 3 scenarios will last you a maximum of 3 hours. That's 3 hours for half the price of the game. That doesn't make me happy. You know, when you're paying that much money, you should get that time out of it. You know, you should get hours and hours of gameplay out of it. It gets worse though. Routes cost £24. That's exactly the same as the price of the base game. And that route will contain a few scenarios. You know, I've seen ones that contain like 5 or something. You know, that's gonna give you, I don't know, let's say 6 hours. Something in that ballpark. 6 hours for the price of the full game. That doesn't work. That doesn't go together. If I'm paying 24 quid, you know, I'm wanting that amount of time. But if you forget about the price, the time, just think, what are Dovetail actually doing? Because they sell a lot of DLC. A lot. And we all know that the DLC quality is poor. I mean really poor. I mean as poor as you'll be after buying everything in the game. Like, really poor. You know, that's why places like Armstrong Powerhouse exist. To enhance the crap DLC that comes with the game. You know, you pay 4 quid to enhance your 12 quid train. It's rather ridiculous. Armstrong Powerhouse managed to do better work than Dovetail Games, you know, flat out, across the board. They make their own trains, they make their own routes, they make their own sounds. And they are all much, much better than what Dovetail Games can produce. I'd say in the order of like 200% better. And yet, a train from Armstrong Powerhouse will cost you £14. That's only £2 more than what Dovetail Games charges. So that begs the question, what are Dovetail Games doing with that money? Because they're obviously not putting it back into the game. If they were, everything would be of superb quality. Everything would be the quality that Armstrong Powerhouse throws out. And you know, everyone would love the game. Like, if Dovetail Games made everything to the standard of Armstrong Powerhouse, everyone would love it. You know, just that would be brilliant. That's never gonna happen. Because Dovetail Games, they're spending their money on who knows what. You know, it's possibly going into the CEO's greedy pocket. Maybe it's going to pay developers stuff that they don't deserve. Because, you know, for the amount of money that they're bringing in, you know, these guys should be able to produce stunning content. And yet they don't. They consistently don't. You know, the reviews are constantly, you know, mixed to negative. You know, that's just how Train Simulator works nowadays. It's accepted to be crap. Yet Dovetail Games, they have the funds to change that. This brings in so much money for them. So much money, in fact, that they've actually managed to develop games, whole other games, just off the profits from Train Simulator. They've made Dovetail Games Fishing and Flight Sim or Flight School or something, a flight simulator. They've made 2 separate games and released them off of the profits from Train Simulator. Meanwhile, Train Simulator is crap, hideously lacking investment. And it's their main source of income. Why? Why don't they put money into the game that makes them money? Surely that makes sense. I mean, obviously someone at Dovetail Games is doing something right, because they are developing the new game, the Train Sim World, that runs on the Unreal Engine. You know, that has potential. That could be good. I doubt it. I expect it's going to be to the same quality as everything else that Dovetail Games have produced. I believe it's going to be poor quality models, poor quality sound, poor quality physics. You know, it's going to be buggy, it's going to crash. It has potential. I would be really surprised if they pulled this off. You know, I'm sorry, but I can already tell you that it's not going to be good. And that's also why I'm not going to fork out and buy all of the extra DLC just to get access to that beta for 12 days. I can tell you it's not going to be worth it. Dovetail Games have a history of releasing things which are not finished, full of bugs, as I have experienced with Train Simulator today. I've had it crash so many times. It is not finished. It's not production ready. It is not finished. So, those 12 exclusive days that you get, half of the time will be spent troubleshooting and trying to actually get the game to load. It'll probably be very poorly optimized. I don't know if the Unreal Engine will save them in that respect, but I have a feeling that it's not going to be the best performing of software. So why on earth I've completely lost my train of thought. Ha! Train of thought. Very funny and full steam ahead. Oh, I don't know. Basically, I really hope. Okay. The new train sim world is currently, it looks to be, one route. It's, you know, set in America, it's CSX, I think heavy haulage or something along those lines. Currently it appears to just be one route. Now, knowing Dovetail games, I am certain that they will release DLC for it. That's how they make their money. They make their money through DLC. They will almost certainly release DLC for it. But, of course, the DLC will be overpriced and probably not very functional. They tried to move into the right direction, and they still have a chance to do that. They still do. And I really, really hope that they get this right. Because they've already screwed up this game. Train Simulator, you can't salvage it. I'm sorry, it is just a wreck. There's no way that they can bring this back and make it better. It's just, I'd say it's a smart move to move on. However, I cannot trust the people at Dovetail to get right what they got wrong with this. I cannot trust that. Because where's the evidence that they're actually capable of doing this? You know, the Dovetail Games Fishing was a pretty poor game. I haven't played their flight simulator, but don't really have high hopes for it. You know, they developed those two games presumably as sort of practice for their new train simulator game. But how much will they have learnt? I don't know. I really hope that they have learnt their lesson and they are going to get it right. But they're driven by money and money alone. That's the problem. You know, they might have staff, they might have developers that are, you know, really into their stuff, really into their trains and stuff. I'm sure they do. But the management just want the money. The management couldn't care less about the people that actually play their game, as long as they're still buying DLC. And they've managed, you know, because it's such a niche market, you know, they have the market share. So that means that they can charge ludicrous prices for crap DLC. And you know, they obviously know this, and they're gonna keep doing this. They already know that they can do this for Train Sim World. And trust me, they will. Train Sim World will be no different. That rant has managed to take us all the way from London Victoria to East Croydon. I am fed up with this game. I mean, I love the principle of it. The execution is just... I wish it were run by someone who actually knew what they were doing. It's... Anyway, this was Train Simulator 2017, and I'm now going to delete it and burn my hard drive and throw my computer out of the window.